It's alive! It's alive!
Hey guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. I'm glad to have you all here with me today, talking some Raid Shadow Legends, taking some time out of your valuable day. I really do appreciate it, guys. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need it out there. I say that to you every day, but especially today. We have Eostrid Dreamsong. She is the fusion. I got my hands on her about 24 hours ago, basically like a day to play test her a little bit for you guys. I will have a more robust guide after a few weeks of her being out, so we can kind of see her true potential if you want to check out my Raid Shadow Legends Champions Guide YouTube channel. So overall, what do we think of this fusion? She's cool. I've kind of oscillated in my opinion about this fusion. At first I was like, yeah, she's average at best, kind of, maybe a little bit above average at best. Maybe that's a little bit more accurate. But she's grown on me a little bit here. I do think she's a pretty cool champ. What about you guys? Let me know. We're gonna go through her kit really quickly, but we first have to say aesthetically, I think she's great. She fits the Sylvan Watcher's aesthetic beautifully. She's got kind of the flower halo going on here. Got a little ponytail, kind of like the tree maiden going on, and she even has the Easter eggs in the basket. Isn't that apropos here for the Easter fusion? All right, she's a legendary support. Her base stats are on the frickin' money. 21k HP, yes please. 1035 attack with solid multipliers from a support. Got me thinking that maybe she could be a Tremaria of damage with an AoE on the A2, not the A1, of course. But sadly, that wasn't really the case. I did build her out for damage, and it was lackluster. It was lackluster. But I figured I'd try it out because that base attack is a little bit high for a support champion with an AoE. Her speed, though, that's where it's at. 115 speed. That is elite level in Raid Shadow Legends. I don't have to tell you guys. You already know that. That puts her in the category of the Siffies and the Lady Kimmies, some of the fastest champions out there in the game. On her A1, she attacks one enemy. She has a 75% chance of placing a sleep when she's booked. She has a 100% chance of putting that sleep if they're under decreased speed in a weaken, which she does have on her A2 ability on an AoE. 3-turn cooldown, decreased speed, and a weaken, obviously big versions, and decreased target's turn meters by 15%. It's a pretty dang good ability. It reminds me a bit of Lady Kimmy, and that's the thing on this champion. She reminds me of about 6 different champions, right? I'm actually going to run her with all the ones she reminds me of, but she's bringing a little bit extra or a little bit less than all of those other champions. So she does kind of have her own sort of defined role, even on that pantheon of these speed queens, because they all happen to be female except for Nekmothar. Anyway, Blessed Dreamsong. 4-turn cooldown, increase speed, increase attack. It's 3 turns, which is great. And we get a turn meter fill by 15% with the extra turn. The fact that it's a 4-turn cooldown, considering it's 3 turns and an extra turn, on everybody else, we're going to be able to keep that increased speed and increase attack up a lot more often than you might intuitively first, suspect just seeing the cooldown. So you open up with the Blessed Dreamsong, basically. Increase speed on everybody, turn meter fill on everybody, increase attack on everybody, and then you come into the A2 and you decrease speed, you big version weaken on all the enemies and reduce their turn meter if they're susceptible to that. It's a really strong opening 1-2 punch that she has. On the passive, Life Bloom. Whenever this champion or an ally has their turn meter increased, heals all allies based on their max HP. The percentage is equal to half of the turn meter increase. Okay, Life Bloom, the good news and the bad news. The bad news first, it's on a 1-turn cooldown, you know? If that just happened all the time, she'd be one of the best healers in the game, I think, you know? Because she's already, this brings me to the good news. The good news is initially I was like, it's going to be kind of a small heal, right? It's predicated on turn meter fill. That's usually about, 15 to 30%, half of that. Their max HP might be low, blah, 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 blah. But it actually, max HP is not that low, considering it happens, pretty frequently, and turn meters can be pretty big. And TLDR, it's actually more substantially healed than I initially thought it was going to be, right? So I'm happy about that. I am bummed this on a 1-turn cooldown, though, because she has to take a turn for it to happen again, right? So you can't just keep blasting turn meter fills all over the place and expect her to continuously heal throughout. She does have a speed in arena battles. Hey, the good news, bad news thing again, guys. The bad news is it's in arena battles only, and she's definitely a competent arena speed lead, absolutely. But it's hard to say she's better or more preferable than an Arbiter who has a better speed lead. And a lot of people already have Arbiter, right? Now, of course, you could run her alongside an Arbiter as you would maybe a Lysandra on a double turn meter boosting team in the arena. But in which case, you still wouldn't need her speed aura. I really wish this was a Lysandra speed aura, an all battle speed by 24%. That would be amazing. And it would really change, to me, her overall value a bit higher, like half a letter grade higher or something like that. Either way, that's my honest take on her kit. Now let's talk about how I built her out. And first, I'll show you the build. And then I want to take a quick little run with all the champions that she reminds me of, as I said, because I don't know about you guys, but I assume you're similar to me. It's like, it's hard not to think of all of these other champions that I already have here grouped up at the top of the screen. I put her in Reflex. I have her in a Hydra Clan Boss build. I think she's best for Hydra, personally. She can keep her team alive. She's got the increased speed. She's got the decreased speed. You know, a little Lady Kimmy-ish kind of vibes going on, but she's got a lot more heals. Obviously, a lot different between her and Lady Kimmy as well. But it's difficult not to to avoid those comparisons, or it's difficult to avoid those comparisons. Excuse me. So Reflex set I like on her. I talked about this when we talked about Wallmaster Arthurian or whatever his name is. We did a guide on him a few days ago. He's really cool. He has an extra turn mechanic, and so does she. So a Reflex set with an extra turn mechanic, even if we get an extra turn to lead us into this ability, the A3, even if the Reflex procs, excuse me, not the extra turn, but rather the cooldown, even if it procs on the A3 instead of the A2, we still get back to the Blessed Dreamsong faster, thus taking extra turn faster, thus getting back to the A2 faster. So I really do love her in a Reflex set. This would be my favorite set for this champion for Hydra Clan Boss. Other options is just Perception, triple speed. You can go Righteous if you want to for the arena. You can go Bolster. She has a lot of HP, so you could build her maybe a little bit tankier to help your team out either in the arena or elsewhere, and just have that Bolster set for wave content, not for Hydra, obviously. Other ways that we would build her. Curing set. Believe it or not, it's a decent option, you know, especially if, you know, all your good reflex gear is on other champions that you use more, yada, yada, yada. You know, she's healing a lot more than I expected her to off this Life Bloom, right? Not going to be the best healer in the world, but it's a lot more substantial, like I said. You guys will see in a moment. Anyway, we went down the support tree. I did pick up Master Hexer and Lasting Gifts because she has valuable buffs and valuable debuffs, so I want both of them to be extended, especially those buffs on the A3 ability. I did not pick up Rapid Response. I probably should have. I went with Life Drinker because I initially built her for damage just to test it out, but I think that's the only thing I would swap about this build. And let me move over here. Again, this is a Hydra setup. If it was for the arena, I would probably just end on Eagle Eye instead. As a matter of fact, let me pull her up on hellhades.com here, guys. They give her a 4 overall grading, which is actually a really good score. In terms of her breakdown in her versatility, it shines through, right? A lot of good scores in a lot of different places, from Dark Fate to Doom Tower Waves to Hydra Clan Boss. A 5 out of 5 they gave her in Hydra Clan Boss. She has a 5.4 multiplier on her A1 and a 4.9 on the A2. That's what got me thinking, hey, maybe a little bit of damage here, but it just didn't. I don't think it was worth it. General PvE, they recommend for Masteries. Okay, there we go. There we go. Loading error. All right, we have support going down with Lasting Gifts, and they did go with Rapid Response. So I think this is the best way to go here. Let me push myself over a little bit, but of course, go ahead and visit hellhades.com and give those guys some love as well. Fantastic content there. So this is a general PvE build, and I like this. I agree with this. As a speed lead, here's what they recommend in one moment here. There we go. So they go down with Cycle of Revenge and then Timely Intervention. I think that's absolutely fine as well. Timely Intervention is great. Can help you get back to those heals, get back to more turns, more turn meter boost, more increased speed, blah, 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 blah. All right, so those are great options there. And a 5, like I said, a 4 out of 5, excuse me. That's not bad for a score. I do like going with Master Hexter, though, instead of going on the left-hand side. Because decreased speed, I love it so much. One of my favorite debuffs inside the entire game. So in terms of blessings, guys, I do not have her awakened, but if I did, I would go Polymorph. I was going to use her in the arena as a speed boost or a secondary speed boost because we're building accuracy on her anyway, right? Same thing with Temporal Chains. I would consider Polymorph, Temporal Chains, Or for PvE, I would go Brimstone. If you're running her as an aura lead, you could also consider Intimidating Presence if you already don't have one on your team, just to strengthen your aura lead and to weaken your enemies. So those would be the blessings I would consider. As I mentioned, I went Perception and Reflex. Just Survivability and Speed are going to be the survivability, speed, and accuracy are going to be the stat priorities for this champion. HP percentage on the gauntlets, HP percentage on the chest, speed on the boots. So I have defense on the ring, I have defense on the amulet, and I have accuracy on the banner. As I already mentioned, stat priorities, survivability, speed, and accuracy. In the arena, we want her as fast as humanly possible. Outside of the arena, we can get by with lower speeds, of course, maybe more survivability if you need it, right? Let's start her out, as I said, you know, we can run her basically in any dungeon. You know, even in Fire Knight, she wouldn't be my go-to for Fire Knight because she only has a single target hitter on her A1. But with all that turn meter filled, the decreased speed, and the whole 9, you can definitely get utility out of her basically in any dungeon. My favorite for her would probably be Ice Golem Hard especially. But even in Spider, she can go in there, she can land the decreased speed on everybody, the weaken on everybody, getting more damage out of everybody else on your team. And then you can just have a bunch of enemy max HP champions or HP burn combust champions or whatever on your squad to help support her after she goes. The turn meter boost can help alleviate those speed needs as well. So, yeah. Dude, I've mentioned this before, but old habits die hard. I made this decision internally. Ash, you're selling every epic accessory because you have to, man. You have to. You have to now. It's not the olden days anymore. There's mythicals and the whole 9. But it's still tough not to roll up those speeds, you know? But the truth is, I probably wouldn't even use them. Okay. Anyway, I digress. Of course, that's going to change depending on where you are in the game and where your account is and blah, 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 right? So when we compare it to other champions, we have the Queens of Speed here all on the same team, right? When we look at all 5 of these champions, right, there's some redundancy between them all, right? We have Arbiter with the double turn meter boost with the revives, decreased duration of buffs. We have Shuzen, who's just amazing instant turns, a higher turn meter, you know, fill depletion. We have Lysandra, who has the speed in all battles, the full turn meter on exhaustion. She has that really, really great energize ability with the increased speed. We have Lady Kimmy, who has the increased speed, the decreased speed. So all of them are somewhat similar, right? I think that the cool thing about Eostrid, in the way that she kind of stands out compared to the other 4 ladies here on the team, is, well, she has kind of the increase, decrease, and the turn meter, just like Lady Kimmy does, and she's fast, just like Lady Kimmy, but she does have those heals, right, that Lady Kimmy does not have, and she also has those debuffs, right? So I feel like she's definitely kind of carved out her own niche between the rest of these women. However, I would say that compared to the rest of them, she's not as great as like an Arbiter in the arena. You know, having the 2 turn meter boost, the big 30% turn meter boost, the 30% speed aura. And I keep comparing her to Arbiter because a lot of people have or will have Arbiter, right? So I don't think she's going to be super popular in the arena, especially after you get, you know, a little bit higher, gold 3, gold 4, where most players kind of have Arbiter in those ranges, certainly platinum. That being said, she's not awful until you do have Arbiter in the arena, or, as I said earlier, to kind of run alongside her, right? And of course, you know, odds are you don't have all these 5 champions, right? So it's not like you're trying to make a decision between each, you know, either or here. If you don't have a Lady Kimmy, I think she's going to be a great similar use case for Hydra clan boss for a lot of players out there, right? And she's Force Affinity, which is kind of nice too, right? Obviously, a lot of magic affinity, void affinity when we talk about these speed demons here. So look at that healing, guys. I mean, granted, they're not healers, but it's significant, right? It's significant. And one of the reasons it's significant is because we're getting all these turn meter boosts. So the more turn meter boosters you have along the same team, the more likely it is that you're at least going to get 1 heal in every single time. Now, she does have her own turn meter boosting as well, so that won't be a super high threshold to actually meet. All right, guys, just kind of threw a team together here. I want to try her on the same team as an Arbiter. It's a little bit redundant because obviously they both bring increased attack, but but only Eostrid brings increased speed, so keep that in mind as well, which is nice to have. So we do go first. Arbiter's going to speed boost into Eostrid. She's going to come in. Eostrid? I feel like I'm saying Ostrich or something. She's going to come in with her A3. She's going to get the back-to-back turns. I guess that's another differentiator between her and the others, right? She gets that back-to-back turn ability, which is really useful. Now, in this situation, this is the issue with Arena right now when it comes to her. Going into the A2 is not necessarily a great thing considering, polymorph and stone skin, right? I feel like we say that all the time here on the channel. So instead, I'm just going to go ahead and they have UDK. So forget anything. I was going to say I'm just going to put Sun Wukong to sleep. So even UDK kind of prevents that A1. Her A1 is really neat inside the arena too. I love that control. I love the sleep on the A1. I do wish it was 100%. And obviously, she doesn't hold a candle to like a Siffy. But again, not everybody's going to have a Siffy and yada, yada, yada. All right, let's go ahead and let's add the strength and the shield here. So let's pop off Sun Wu. So we have a Nithwi Blood Twin. I should have used Queen Ava. I just don't have her built right now. But I love block revive right now just because of Sun Wukong, right? We're already back to the Blessed Dreamsong. That's pretty insane, no? But again, we can't do much here. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just A3 anyway. And we'll go again and just burn one against their squad. The good news here is I can just go auto. We pretty much won this match, right? Because we have a block revive against Sun Wukong. Who else is going to do damage to this team, right? Plus we have a reviver, and just going to take us a while because to wait for the stone skin to wear off. I gotta be honest with you guys, just apropos of nothing here. UDK. Everybody always complains in my comments about UDK. Oh, he's ruining the game and blah, blah, blah. And I hate UDK so much. I want to ask you guys, is Armand's the Magnificent, is he starting to creep into that territory, or has he surpassed it for you guys? I'm going to be real with you guys. He surpassed it for me. I am, Armand's he's something. He's something. He's a little annoying, a little bit. He bothers me more than UDK does. That being said, I use him too. So, what can I say, right? What can I say? It's weird. He doesn't like bother me where I want to rage quit the game, Armand's. He's just like, you get sick of him pretty dang fast. I don't rage. I'm not much of a rage quitter or player. But it's just like, oh God, again, Armand's like, my Armands versus your Armands, or who can pick first in live arena, and whoever does, it's a 90% going to be Armands, and then he's probably 50% going to be banned. You know the whole drill. Guys, this is the enthralling arena content. I know. It's just amazing here. I'll come back to you guys when this one's over. The crazy thing is like, Nithwi eventually will get a kill, but they're super, super tanky with Marichka and UDK. Thank God we don't have to worry about Marichka's passive because of the deny revival. And me being an idiot, I just threw Mithrala on the team, didn't notice that they had Marichka, who's going to put that block damage every time we use the A1, which is super annoying as well. All right, guys, I'll be right back. I'm itching. You know how a speed booster is going to work in the arena. I don't need to demonstrate it for you guys. I am itching to go into Hydra and see her at work. I'm actually going to run her on a team with Arbiter for the double turn meter boosting with the increased speed. I think they actually complement each other pretty well, right? You get the heals, you get the increased speed, you get the passive heals, you get the debuffs, you get the buff decreased duration. I think those two combined, you're getting just endless turn meter manipulation, decreased speed, the whole nine. So I'll come back to you guys when we're about ready to start Hydra. Be right back. All right, guys, it wasn't that much longer. Finally took the team down here. You're going to see a nice, healthy amount of heals from Eostrid here because, yeah, it was a long battle, right? But either way, you can definitely, super viable, especially if you don't have Arbiter, but even if you do, you can have a fun, like, 1-2 punch team with this champion. Let's go ahead and go into Hydra, guys. I only have one key left, and I only have one difficulty to attack left, right? So it's going to be Hydra hard. She's going to be right on my main team. She's going to be in there for Geralt, Blood Maul, so I'm not sure if I'm going to end up keeping the result. Obviously, she's not going to hold a candle in terms of damage. However, I do like this squad, as I said before, to have, I think she complements an Arbiter team pretty well. And Arbiter, low-key, is one of my favorite revivers to run in Hydra Clan Boss. She's just really freaking good, you know? The double turn meter, it's where it's at. And I love, I mean, how many times am I going to say this, right? Decreased speed to me is a must-have. I will mention on this team, I do have a curse set on Tremaria. I have a whole video about that going live tomorrow, by the way. Let's see what this team can do. We have tons of turn meter boosting, right? Which I love. We have the decreased speed. We're going to get in really quick control of this match. And I love that. I love that. Basically keeping those heads decapitated for as long as possible, min-maxing our damage every step along the way, and letting Trunda kind of do her thing. That's kind of the name of the game here. We do have a mythical on the team. We have Crixia. I mean, she's great, but her main use case on this squad is just resetting Trunda. It could be a Yumeko, it could be a Kaimar, whatever, right? So going in there, we'll be able to keep decreased speed up basically 100% of the time on this team. I love that she has that extra turn mechanic for Hydra Clan Boss, especially. I love that we can go in there, get that increased speed on everybody, keep that increased speed on everybody. And the same thing, obviously, with the Hydra heads with the decreased speed, right? Man, look at that Cloak of Ages. Boom! 30 million after 3 turns, not too bad. And this is where I want to be here. I want to immediately get the decreased speed on everybody. Extra turn, goes in there, only an A1. It's a bummer that we couldn't go in with the A2 ability. But hey, guys, let's see how this team does. I'll be back in about an hour or so, and we'll see what kind of damage we can put up. Moreover, we'll see what kind of heals, you know, we can get from Eostrid. The only thing is I'll show you the end results, obviously, but the majority of what she brings to the table is not going to show up on the proverbial stat sheet, right? It's going to be all those debuffs, all those buffs, and all that turn meter fill. Guys, we'll be back in a bit. So here we are about 50 minutes later, and I have to say, I am really super impressed because when you look at this squad, right, when you look at this team, there's Trunda, and then there's 5 support champions, essentially, right? There's Crixia, who's not doing much damage. We have Lydia, who's not doing a ton of damage. We have Arbiter. We have the Fusion. And we have Tremaria, who is doing damage, but it's still like she's a support. She has 800 base attack, you know? So Trunda puts out 732 million damage. Eostrid puts out 7.6 million in heals. No big deal. And keeps the team basically topped off the entire battle. And the reason I know that is because look at Arbiter's heals. Only 111,000, meaning that no one was below 50% HP for her to have to even heal them with Eostrid on the team. And then Tremaria puts out 232 million damage as well. But man, I am honestly impressed by these results. Obviously, like you can say, it's just all Trunda, she's broken, whatever. And that's all true. However, think about it this way. Everybody, including Eostrid, right, was able to enable our 1 DPS, 1.5, to do all that damage with all those constant turn meter fills, the increased attack, the increased speed, the decreased speed on the Hydra heads, and the decapitated heads, so they buy our DPS more time to do that damage. Anyway, guys, what do you think of this fusion? Let me know in the comments below. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.